Welcome to the Fall 2018 edition of Buena Park Today. I'm Kathy Beck, and thank you for joining us. On this edition of Buena Park Today, we'll visit with the city clerk to find out about our upcoming municipal election for 2018, and if you're not registered to vote, how you can do that as well. On our second story, we'll visit with Public Works to learn more about the newest rules and regulations with regard to residential parkway landscaping, as well as rules for bulky item disposal. So stay tuned. As you are aware, the city of Buena Park is now a districted city. In 2015, the city was separated into 5 districts that is designed to give more local involvement for residents. With the 2018 elections coming up this November, we sat with City Clerk Adria Jimenez to find out some information about this election and why it's important for residents to vote in Buena Park's general municipal election.
Adria, give us a brief description of this year's election and why it is important for the Buena Park residents.
So this year's election is going to be held on Tuesday, November 6th. Election hours are from 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those are when the polls are open. It's important that the residents get involved in their local elections because those are the council members that directly represent them. Those council members represent them at the state and at the federal level. So it's important that residents do get involved. So prior to districting in Buena Park held its elections at large. And what that means is that everyone in the city voted for a council member to represent them regardless of where they lived every 2 years. Now, come 2016, the city's divided into 5 equal portions, which approximately have 15,000 voters in each district. And you will vote for a council member who represents you that must live in that district.
Voter turnout for voting districts, why is that so important?
Well, voting in districts is important because that way everyone feels that they're equally represented on the city council, that they have someone that they can relate to that represents them in their local government. So it's important that districts are formed here so we have equal representation on our city council as a whole.
So tell me a little bit about this year's districts in Buena Park. Who will be voting?
So in this year's election, there are 3 districts that will be on the ballot. The first district is District 1, which is in our northeast area of the city. District 2, which is in our central area of Buena Park. And District 5, which is the central west area of Buena Park.
And what about the other districts? Will they be voting?
No, the other districts will not be on the ballot this year, and those are Districts 3 and 4. They will be voted upon in 2020. So registering to vote is very simple. I encourage everyone who is 16 and above to register to vote. You can't vote till you're 18, but you can pre-register, and once you turn 18, you will get a ballot and you can vote. You can register to vote at any federal, state, or local building, and that includes here at City Hall. We have voter registration forms in many different languages. So if your first language isn't English, we have them in Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, Tagalog, and any other language you may need.
Can they register online? Can people register online?
Yeah, you can register online to vote. You can go to registertovoteca.gov and register to vote online, and it takes about 3 minutes.
Oh, well, that's very quick.
Yeah. But they have to do it before October 22nd. That's the deadline to register to vote for the November 6th election.
Okay, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, the community center is going to be a polling place for the first time.
Yes.
And are there any other locations in the city where there will be polling places that you know of?
Well, we're always happy to help the county with any polling locations that they need. We do have one other city facility that's a polling location, and that's our police department.
But they're so close.
Yes. So our police department will service our residents north of the 5 freeway and along Beach Boulevard, and the community center will service the residents south of the 5 freeway and along Stanton.
Well, very good. All right. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything I may not have asked you that you might like to let people know about voting?
Actually, yes. If you are registered as a permanent mail voter, your permanent mail vote ballot will be mailed October 8th. So those should be coming out soon.
Oh, so yes, the voting by mail.
Voting by mail, yes.
Very good.
And new this year is you don't need to find a stamp to send your vote in. You can just send your ballot in. No stamp is required.
Is there anything on our city website?
Yes, so the city clerk's office has a department page under voting and elections.
And what can people see there?
You can get all types of information, candidate statements, and actually your polling location. So if you enter in your address, we have a GIS map that'll show you exactly where you are and what district you live in.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I
You're
hope
welcome.
that lets everybody know about what we're doing in the city of Buena Park when it comes to our election.
Thank you.
Jerry, a lot of people have questions about residential parkways. We've just basically had a lot of city council meetings about that. Can you explain what a residential parkway is for the viewers?
Sure. The parkway is the area between the sidewalk and the street. Generally, it has either a tree or grass, and it's an area that is city-owned, but the residents are required to maintain it. The tree is city-owned, and the city will maintain that.
So basically, residents should know that that is part of the city's property, the parkway, and the city maintains the trees in the parkway as well as the sewer lines from the street to the house.
Yes. A lot of times there's utilities that run under the parkway, such as water lines, gas lines, fiber optic lines, or telephone lines. That is city-owned property, and the city owns the parkways.
And the city maintains them?
The city maintains the trees. However, residents are required to maintain the grass or any plants that are in that area.
So if somebody wanted to remove their, let's say, lawn and put it in a California drought-tolerant lawn, how would they go about doing that?
So any upgrades to your parkway, any changes to your parkway require prior approval and should be forwarded first and contact your Public Works Department first before you do anything with the parkway. Public Works Department is aware of people wanting to do upgrades, and we can work with them very easily. There is a permit that they're required to fill out and go through the process of getting approval for the parkway upgrades.
Now, you talked about approval. What if somebody's in non-compliance with the guidelines? How would they know?
So the Public Works Department, our field operations, is reaching out to residents who have non-compliant parkways. If you have palm trees or fruit trees or bark, you will be handed a door hanger to your door notifying you of non-compliance. It's by no means a fee or penalty, but we do want to get those compliant. And if you do fall under the guidelines of compliant or admissible or tolerable changes, you will be allowed to permit those at a non-fee prior to June 1st of 2019. If you do not get those approval before June 1st, 2019, and you do want to keep the parkway the way it is, you will be required to pay a fee for the permit. However, we are going to work with residents closely to get these compliant. If you do have palm trees, if you do have something that's compliant, that's allowable, based on this flyer that was handed out recently to all residents, we will work with you and get those compliant.
Now, tell me about that flyer right there. Where will people be seeing this flyer, and how will they get that information?
So this flyer was sent out to all residents in the water bill, and it does kind of outline what is allowable or compliant. Rock is compliant, some trees, some hedges, as long as they don't exceed 24 inches in height. Some ground cover is allowable, but it does also show what is not allowable, what is not compliant. Cactus is not allowable. We will not tolerate cactus. We will not allow trees that are fruit-bearing, such as fruit trees. We will not allow bark or mulch, you want to call it, and pea gravel. Those are not allowable, and if you do have them currently in your lawn or in your parkway, when we visit you, we will be required to remove those at the owner's expense.
What is wrong with bark or peat gravel in the parkway?
So generally, the reason we don't allow those things is when it rains or there's a lot of water, they tend to overflow into the street and go into the storm drains, and we cannot allow bark or rock into the storm drains. That does flow out to the ocean, and Orange County does kind of admonish us for having any kind of runoff that is not rainwater. So bark tends to flow out into the parkways, into the curbs, eventually drain into the ocean, and we don't allow those. Pea gravel the same way. Pea gravel tends to run off real easily. And also pea gravel is a trip hazard. People tend to slide and slip on the pea gravel, and they can hurt themselves.
And the cactuses as well? You don't want cactuses?
Yeah, those are a danger for residents. If someone trips and falls, if a kid's on a skateboard or on a bike and trips and falls or loses balance and falls in a cactus, it's not a pretty sight.
Now, basically, the trees in the parkway, those are maintained by the city.
Yes.
And there's a schedule of what, every 3 to 5 years?
We're on like a 5-year schedule. Every 5 years, we want to reach every single tree in the city. We do have a contract with West Coast Arborist that goes out and does grid pruning. They'll go into an area and do every tree in the grid. And we do also have a crew in-house that does spot trims or removals. We do maintain all the trees in the city. All the trees are city-owned and city-maintained as long as they're in the parkway.
But the residents are not allowed to just take out the tree that's in the
No,
parkway?
we do not allow residents to remove trees on their own. If they are found to be removing a tree or damaging a tree, they would be penalized.
There would be a penalty. And they will receive a warning, such as the yellow?
Yes, we'll reach out to the residents and kind of contact them as to what the concern is, what the problem is, why they were doing what they were doing. If there are any problems with the trees, as far as it needs trimming, or if it's causing property damage or requires removal, please contact us and we'll work with you on that.
Okay, and another of the items that the city was working on is basically the bulky items disposal. When people move out of some neighborhoods, specifically around apartment complexes, they tend to leave a lot of the furniture that they're not going to take to the next residence. What should people know about that?
So bulky item removal is a problem. We do ask residents to dispose of their bulky items properly. You can reach out to Park Disposal, our trash company, and they will do a bulky item pickup twice a year, no cost for the residents. It's totally free. So they can reach out to Park Disposal and dispose of their items correctly. If you bring it to the parkway, it's considered illegal dumping, and you will be admonished for that. And you'll get a red tag, such as this, asking to remove it within 24 or 48 hours, depending on how long it's been out there. But please contact Park Disposal for any kind of bulky item removal.
What about those residents that are moving out of apartment complexes and they don't take a lot of their items with them and they leave them on the streets in front of these apartment complexes? It's getting pretty bad.
Unfortunately, Park Disposal does not allow for a resident or for commercial or apartment houses to have pickups annually. But we recommend the residents or the tenants to please work with your property manager of disposing them properly.
So you should work with your apartment complex
Correct.
manager to get
Correct.
rid of
Yes.
large bulky items. Okay, great. There's another item there. It's the disposal of hazardous waste in households, such as oil or paint. How can residents dispose of that properly?
Yes, used motor oil is accepted a lot of times at local auto shops or auto parts stores, such as AutoZone or O'Reilly's, whatever you have near you. But there also is a company called Curbside that will go out and pick up used motor oil. As long as it's clean, as long as there's no other kind of fluids in there or any hazardous waste, if it's clean oil, they will pick it up for free. As far as hazardous waste or paints or whatever you have at home, solvents, we recommend you contact Orange County Household Hazardous Waste centers, and you can drop them off at their centers.
Okay, great. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like the residents to know a little bit more about?
If you have any concerns, questions about the parkways or your trees, please contact Public Works. We're happy to answer any questions. We're here for you, and we'd be happy to help you out with any problems you have out there.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Thank you.